I didn't expect to spend a full weekend arguing with the sentient bush,
How could you?
blowing my savings on spring seeds, and learning to chop trees by playing a melody on a flute. But here I am, already desperate for more. Songs of Glimmerwick, the next title from Eastshade Studios, drops you onto a strange island occupied by a school of music and magic, then hands you a daily planner full of classes, garden chores, potion ingredients, and townsfolk who are way too charming for their own good.
Care for a pretzel?
If you've ever wondered what it would feel like to attend a Stardew Valley University that teaches Ocarina of Time-style spellcasting inside a cartoon saloon film, this is shockingly close to that. The demo only covers the first couple of days in spring, and I lapped up every scrap of it. That said, a handful of rough edges, including 2 separate soft locks and an options menu that feels like a placeholder, remind me that this is still very much a work in progress.
Shh! Headmistress is speaking.
Songs of Glimmerwick is easily the prettiest RPG I've played since Baldur's Gate 3. Hear me out, it doesn't need polygons to prove it. The art direction channels the handcrafted Celtic line work of cartoon saloon films like The Secret of Kells and Wolfwalkers, rendered from an isometric perspective reminiscent of Don't Starve, though far more colorful and alive.
Greetings! First time in town, right?
Flora sways in layered gusts, butterflies drift across wildflower meadows, and water catches light in ways that would make a mundane shoreline feel like the margin of an illuminated manuscript. I noticed this all immediately, and it all holds up because it's built on craft, without a DLSS toggle in sight. Meanwhile, the soundtrack is pulling just as much weight. These full symphonic arrangements kept me enthralled, barely clashing with the player-operated flute melodies that typically make the main OST duck down when it's time to sow some basil. Yet the vibe here is less overtly Hogwarts and more ancient rural co-op tucked into a cliffside, which happens to seat a magical school. It all fits remarkably well. Walking into a building triggers an isometric diamond-shaped dollhouse view that immediately invokes Beacon Pines, the 2022 narrative adventure that used the exact same technique to make interiors feel like miniature dioramas. Glimmerwick takes it further though. For instance, some rooms are surrounded by water, others literally contain flowing streams that extend beyond the visible frame. The effect is gorgeous, and it makes every building feel like its own self-contained illustration instead of just a room with 4 walls. In Songs of Glimmerwick, your character is a young witch who got sick of their old life, chartered a boat to anywhere, and washed ashore on the titular Glimmerwick Island.
One witch who trudged through the forests to the nearest dock and paid the ferryman with few gold petals and fewer words to board a ship to anywhere else.
Home to the Etchery School of Magic and Melody, a place that produces great bards, mages, and witches, and where humans, moth people, and mer people seemingly gather to study. The underlying mythology, that music is the source of all creation, is Tolkien-esque in the best sense, and the narrative draws liberally from Kiki's Delivery Service, and yes, rather obviously from Harry Potter. By comparison, Songs of Glimmerwick reads as a gentler, more deliberately welcoming alternative to the wizarding world of Hogwarts Legacy for players who'd rather sidestep the baggage surrounding that franchise.
How amazing!
The character creator offers androgynous options, the student body includes multiple species, and the whole atmosphere leans into warmth and inclusivity. I did notice that the available outfits seemed to fit more naturally on female-presenting characters, which led me to re-roll my original bald self-insert into a white-haired, glasses-wearing young lady who felt way more at home in this particular world, named after a friend's D&D character, naturally. That's not a complaint. If anything, it says something about how thoroughly the aesthetic commits to its own vision. The writing is a highlight. Characters are witty and idiosyncratic in a way that reminded me of Life is Strange True Colors, where even the most minor townsfolk have enough personality to make you want to seek them out.
No, I'm not big enough to use the oven.
For instance, I got into an extended argument with a sentient bush that was blocking my path.
I'm as friendly a shrub as you'll ever meet.
I watched a fox creature obsess over painting his bird companion in exactly the right pose.
Birds are very strange looking when you get up close.
And then my roommate blew up her furnace at some ungodly hour in the morning.
Rumi, listen to me very carefully. I am awful at magic.
Lo and behold, around every corner there's another quest, from faculty, from students, from random townsfolk in Whisk, which is part Hogsmeade, part Pelkin Town, and entirely its own thing. The demo also teases locations beyond these zones, like the Ochre Woods, the distant shifting spires, but it caps out after the first couple of springtime days, which is borderline cruel. If you've lost weekends to Stardew Valley, the daily loop here will feel immediately familiar. Each day runs on a limited clock with finite energy, and here you're juggling classes, garden maintenance, potion making, quests, and other trips into town to buy and sell. Crops and gathered goods can get tossed into a well. This is Glimmerwick's shipping bin equivalent, and when you sleep, an end-of-day tally breaks down your earnings by category. If you're the kind of player who picks up every mollusk, weed, and foraged mushroom just to see what it sells for, there's a staggering amount of that here. I sold everything in sight, and then I blew all my cash buying every spring seed in stock at the merchant cart, and regretted nothing. But here's the twist that makes Glimmerwick its own thing: the spell system. Learning a new spell means learning a new song through a light, casual rhythm minigame, and then playing that song in the world to trigger its effect. One song chops trees, another mines rocks, a third one plows fields, and so on, but there are clearly uses to these songs that go beyond basic toolcraft. The rhythm elements are gentle and forgiving with no sync requirements I could detect on PC. During the school study phase, you can hit the baseline threshold, say 140 notes, to unlock the song for use, or you can push for a higher mark like 240 to earn more XP and a potentially stronger version of the spell, though that last bit isn't fully clear to me yet. I did get trapped inside the music practice booth after finishing the rhythm tutorial once though. I couldn't leave, so I had to reload the save. It's in development software though, so it happens. The Ocarina of Time comparison isn't a lazy shorthand here. In that 1998 classic, you physically input note sequences on the C buttons, Zelda's Lullaby, Epona's Song, the Song of Storms, and each melody triggers a specific world effect. Glimmerwick operates on almost the same philosophy. Learn the melody, internalize the inputs, and quick cast it in the field by punching in the correct notes. Music becomes a tool, not a decoration, and that's pretty cool. Unlike Stardew Valley, where expertise grows passively just by doing the activity, Songs of Glimmerwick funnels everything into a deliberate skill tree system. Learning songs, completing quests, and brewing potions all feed XP into a shared pool. Level up, and you allocate points into a branching tree that already looks deep, even from the demo's limited window. A few perks caught my eye, like Tongue of Frog, which lets you speak to frogs, naturally, and Rain Dancer, which increases your rain cloud radius by 50%. That one is interesting because it implies that rain here is a dynamic, localized weather system and not the uniform, day-wide toggle that Stardew Valley uses. Hidden perks are also teased, which suggests that the full tree could reward experimentation in ways that I've barely glimpsed. The NPC schedule and seasonal event system carry a persona-like structure, where each day of each season has its own unique happenings. Classes, homework, festivals, and student drama unfolding on its own timeline.
It starts at 8. I hope you'll come.
Luckily, the quests themselves don't appear to be time-locked the way that some of Stardew Valley's errands are, because the quest log was already massive by the time the demo kicked me out. Trust me when I say that I barely scratched it, and not because I didn't want to. The demo just spat me out before I could. I'm also left with a few big questions, like how deep does the story go once the full school year unfolds? Do the NPC relationships evolve meaningfully across seasons, or do they flatten out? How much variety exists in the later songs, and does the rhythm system scale in complexity, or does it stay this casual throughout? The skill tree looks promising, but does it actually reshape how you play by the endgame, or do most paths converge? And selfishly, will ultra-wide support make it in by release? At the end of the day, I poured a full weekend into the available demo content and came away wanting more in a way that honestly reminded me of discovering Stardew Valley for the first time as a young adult, or further back of being a kid stumbling into Harvest Moon for the first time, and realizing that I could just live in this little world that I've been contributing to. Except Songs of Glimmerwick pleasantly surprised me with somehow more layers of whimsy and fairytale wonder than either of those games, and it makes me feel like I've only turned the first page of something sprawling.
Hello, small witch. My name is Bristlecone.
If you're craving a cozy Witch Academy RPG that treats music as more than set dressing, and don't mind waiting for a few demo-era rough spots to get cleaned up, this might deliver exactly what you're looking for. For more previews of the biggest upcoming games, check out our recent looks at Seiros and Masters of Albion. And for everything else in gaming, stick with IGN.